Hey, hi everyone, this is Ruchir Arora. I am the CEO and co-founder for CollegeDekho.
एक मिनट रुक जाओ, रेडी होने दो. चलो ये कर लेते हैं. दिस कुड बी अ ग्रेट इंट्रो.
Hi, I'm Akshay.
Hi, this is Saurabh, and you are listening to the Founder Thesis podcast. We meet some of the most celebrated startup founders in the country.
And we want to learn how to build a unicorn.
Opportunities lie everywhere. You just need to have the right perspective to spot them. If you take the example of the higher education space, there are multiple large unicorns like Byju's, Upgrad, and Vedantu, which are chasing the test preparation market. They help students to prepare for the entrance exams of the top 100 colleges in India. But did you know that India has more than 50,000 graduate and postgraduate colleges? And there is gold to be found by working with the 49,000 colleges that lie beyond the coveted first-year colleges. This is the opportunity that CollegeDekho is tapping into. Ruchir Arora was working in the education division of Hindustan Times, basically the division that helps colleges to advertise themselves in order to attract students. And that is where he hit upon the idea of building a digital-first content-led platform that would make it easier for students who are applying for remaining 49,000 colleges to research, shortlist, and apply to the right course and college for them. This idea grew into a full-stack business that today has an admissions division, a learning division, and a study abroad division. And investors love CollegeDekho, which helped them raise a massive $35 million in 2021. Here's Ruchir Arora telling Akshay Dutt about how it all began.
So I got a finance job. Hindustan Times at that time was starting this tech company called Firefly Ventures, which was very similar to what India Times did and Times of India did. And I was one of the first few employees. My role was very similar to not only do financial planning and all of the finance work, but also to look for opportunity which we can acquire, invest, stuff like that. So we was working with the CFO very closely. So that sort of really helped. And interestingly, so we used to go to the board meeting, present annual reports, quarterly reports. Again, got to meet very senior and very sort of respected folks in the industry and learned a lot from them. And then in one of the board meetings, we were trying to say, what can we do in education? And that's where they said, why can't? Obviously, we had built Jobs, which was shine.com. And we had plans to build other properties as well. And then education came in and he said, Ruchi, you are closer to, and we're trying to acquire an asset or let's say invest in an asset in education. So that you are close to that business. My boss somewhere identified, and I'm always very thankful that this guy can maybe do business and outside of finance. So he said, why don't you start something and we'll see how it goes. In fact, he also told me that if it works, I'll hire a CEO for the business, but you make it work. And that was very essentially very honest and humble of him.
Like Times of India, Hindustan Times, essentially what they did in their online expansion was make classifieds online, like be it property listing or be it job listing. So was it the same idea with education?
Yes. So if you look at classifieds, there are typically 5 classifieds: jobs, property, marriage, auto, and education, right? So these are the 5 main, and every day you get a supplement of each one of them. Obviously, there are players in jobs, there were players in real estate, there were players in matrimony. Auto was upcoming sector. It was not that big at that point. And education was something which was quite wide open at that time. So we started a classifieds portal, very clean classifieds portal. We used to call it ST Campus. And then ST Campus grew I ran it for about 3-4 years. It grew.
What is a classifieds play in education? I'm not able to visualize. Is there any global example classifieds in education? This is what, like listing, I'm offering tuition classes or I'm offering this course in BTech. Is that what it is? Or?
Yeah, so the classifieds is a very established play in higher education, okay? Typically, what happens in a classified portal in the digital domain is you essentially get traffic by putting content, which is typically a classified website would do. And when you get traffic, you are focusing education content. So you get education related content. And then you sell either the branding on the website for eyeballs, or you also sell the inquiry that students make on your portal. So let's say I am as a student coming to website and saying, I find this course interesting. Can you help me find an engineering college? So you sell this data You sell this data to colleges. And again, across the world, there are various examples where you have very large classified portals. And this was about 10 years back. So at that time, some of these things were very hot, right? The business had not matured to the transaction level. It was still very focused on eyeballs and CPCs, etc., etc. So we started this website called HT Campus. At that time, there was just one such portal from the house of Info Edge, right, called Shiksha. And
That's Shiksha, yeah.
so Shiksha is a classic example of a classified portal. And we started, and it grew very fast. And when I left, I was essentially trying to do this and also integrate print with it, because obviously you can see that same customers overall put together globally, the news print was losing its flavor in a way. It's still, for example, I understand in Hindi vernacular bed, our print is rocking. It's one of the best places, but still it was losing its flavor, especially with a lot of audience because of people like you, podcast and news channels, 24 hours, app and Facebook, 24 hours availability of news. News is all about you.
People are consuming news online and more personalized. Yeah.
More personalized, more online. And then, so one challenge that people have globally faced is what should we print tomorrow morning? Because everything that you print is already been out there. And so we tried to combine print and digital selling in education. And that's what I was looking after.
What made you want to leave?
Yeah, I think overall, I had a great experience there. A lot that I learned was what I am today is thanks to people at Hindustan Times and the senior management there. But I think one thing which I always had this, that I want to do something on my own, right? Even in Hindustan Times, the good part was that the ST campus business really incubated. So I did a lot of work there. But then I had some different idea of executing it. And I always wanted to do something on my own. And I said, if I don't take this risk now, I'm like already about 35. And if I don't take this risk now, then it's not happening. Okay. This is the last chance. At that time, there were three interesting things going on. One, somehow I could see that in this internet industry and investor domain, I really liked that part. So I could see that maybe ISB degree is not enough. So I was trying to go to US to do an additional MBA. Okay. That was one thing which was going on. Second, I had very advanced offer letter discussion with the really big daddy of internet. That was going on. And then this was going on. And then I finally said, all the other two things can still happen after 2 years, but this can't. So if I wait and take something else, then I'm getting back to the rut. Okay. Now, I still find jobs very exciting, but yeah, I always thought that let's try and see if we can do something. Then I met someone which led me to meet and this was in the planning stage. And
you already had an idea of what you want to do?
Yeah, I had idea I've always had, but I didn't have the guts and the money. So let me tell you the macro of it and how I reached the idea. So India, there are about 10 to 11 million students who go to colleges every year. Okay. Which is by far the largest. As of today, about 4 crore students are studying in colleges. Interestingly, India is also a country where the number of colleges in a country is the largest. Okay. So we have 53,000 college degree granting colleges in India. Okay. 53,000. So just to give you a comparable, US is roughly about 20 million or students studying in colleges. It has 4,000 colleges. Okay. India has 440 and 53,000. So it's crazy. Also, interestingly, 70% of all enrollment share went to private colleges. Okay. This is another distinct feature, which is the government decided that the country is large and we need private participation in that. And we'll get the frameworks, let the private parties run it, right? Now, interestingly, so this is on the macro side. Now, look at me as a student. I came from Meerut and I could relate to a lot of this. So if I'm amongst the top 5 students in my school or class and loves me, okay, everyone says that I want to help this guy. He will go to IIT. I'll have my poster. Someone will write somewhere that this guy did great and he's a poster boy for the school. But from, let's say there are 50 students in a class, from roll number 6 to 50, nobody really cares. And that's where the problem is, right? Because that's where the confusion is. This is the student who's coming from a small town. Is probably not, he will not get 99.99 percentile to make it to an SRCC. And he's confused. He or she is also unaware of what his or her capabilities are. And I used to get a lot of these calls from my friends and families and very consistent questions. And you know what? I could not make it to IIT, yet I want to do engineering and it's an important decision in my life. How should I go about it? It's very difficult. And again, same thing, you can know almost everything about the top 100 colleges. The moment I ask you what is the 101 college, right? What's the infrastructure, right? What should you do to choose this college? You again go blank. So that was the problem statement that I want to solve. And the second thing that I felt that, and you always kept reading about unemployability and the people are not employable, etc. So I think so what is the end result, right? First of all, the student probably should have never been an engineer, should have been maybe a journalist or a social media influencer. But there are tons of new jobs, new career opportunities which kids don't even know of. So it starts from there. I was a great journalist, but my dad or my mom forced me to do engineering because that was the only thing that we knew. Then you go to a college which probably is also lagging between industry and academia in curriculum. Also, the higher up you go, the more complex subjects become. For example, getting a good engineering design professor in a small town will always be more difficult because you have people sitting So you are essentially saying the pipe itself is a bit of a problem, right? One, you didn't know which college to go to. Then you went to a college where the curriculum was not the best or a bit compromised. And that resulted into unemployment. So my take is that if you want to correct that, let's correct the pipe first. So we want to build a complete ecosystem where not only students can get discovery, but they can also get help while they are studying in college. So they can take classes, they can see subjects, doubt resolution, all of this. And I wanted to keep this portal free of cost for students. That was my take. And we got great success. So we started in the first year. We made tons of videos of colleges, put in a lot of content, got amazing traffic.
You spent on this content from your pocket? Was it bootstrap?
Yeah, so initially we were bootstrapping it, and then I met Amit, who's the founder of CollegeDekho. It's an interesting story. Amit and Rag, founders of CollegeDekho. So I wanted to start the company at a very different name. I had a different name in mind, but then we met. Amit liked the idea because he was doing something similar with cars. He said, I love the idea. I think it can scale very well. If you're okay, I'm happy to put in money from the group side. And he also said that you should take this name CollegeDekho because Dekho has been lucky for us. So I actually officially bought the domain name from him and obviously traded that. And then we renamed the company to CollegeDekho. And Amit had done a little bit of work on the colleges side already. So we got advantage of that.
Like he had a database of colleges.
Yeah, so he had some database, he had some content. So it did not take us a lot of time. Plus, I was coming from a similar background. So I knew what all levers you need to pull this. So after leaving the job, working for a startup in between for 3-4 months, then I started CollegeDekho, obviously with sort of initial seed money. And that's because of that seed money, we could put in a lot of content, we could hire resources. The good part was I knew how to monetize it. So I knew how to monetize it. So we created India's first common application form where a student who comes to our platform, he wants to apply to colleges, they don't have to go to 10 places. They can just click of a button, add colleges, courses, and then apply. It automatically goes to all colleges, right?
Gateway integration. Because
everything. There's the whole 9 yards. So you can shortlist, you can apply, you can pay, you get a receipt from the college. You can also get an offer letter. So the entire thing was happening on the platform and the students could essentially use this application and show to colleges that we have already applied. So they don't have to go to, this sounds a bit unfamiliar now, but at that time, colleges were still accepting demand drafts. Okay.
Paper forms.
Yeah, paper forms and 2000. This is not 2000. This is like 2015, 16, right? Even 15, 16, 17, I knew colleges who were sending paper forms, send a demand draft, and they will send you a paper form, you fill it, and you attach. So all of that was still happening. And this sort of came as a fresh to a lot of students. So we got a lot of traffic. The common application form.
When did you launch this?
2016. Yeah.
Okay. Like first, within a year of launch.
Within a year of launch.
And the content which you put up, how did you monetize that? Was it like ads?
Yeah, mostly ads. We also started selling some inquiries of students, etc. over a period of time. But then we pivoted our model completely to applications and admissions. So our model was that students can find it convenient to apply through us and we will get paid for that application. And obviously, if someone from that application ends up taking admission, then, we make a transaction money out of it. So basically we moved the entire classifieds model to a transaction model.
When you move to transaction model, like 16, you started the application form.
Yeah, if by end
That
of
itself
16,
was
yeah, I think that itself. So starting of transaction model was from when we launched common application. That's when we did that.
what is the economics of that model? Like you charge a convenience fees, like how, say, I would use Book My Show to book a ticket in a cinema hall and I pay a convenience fees or something like that? Or?
Yeah. So in this case, we don't charge anything from the student. For every application, the college pays us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So students, it's free. It is in fact cheaper for them to apply through our platform than it is for them to apply through college. Sometimes because we have aggregated payment gateways. So there are payment gateway, there are offers, and we aggregate all the offers which the students can get, which a standalone college cannot do. A lot of times it is actually cheaper for them to use our platform and convenient than use that. So first year, I think only about 50 colleges agreed to this and we did 1,000 applications, but still.
And these were private colleges essentially.
Yes, mostly on our platform, we have private and semi-government colleges, right? We still don't work with any fully aided, let's say a government college, because government colleges have their own processes, etc. So we became a channel for these private colleges to get more applications in more convenient way and then in a more sort of the same. So this is how the journey started. 50 colleges on one side, about 1,000 applications, and it's kept scaling. And last year, till December last year, we did about 125,000 applications on the platform and roughly close to about 25,000 admissions out of that. Yeah.
And how many colleges now accept the common application form?
1,500 colleges in India, and we are scaling this number as we go. My take is that we should very close soon reach about 8 to 10,000 colleges. That's when the choice for the student will be complete. Right now, we work with, again, just the tip of the iceberg, right? Only about 1,500 out of the 50,000 colleges that we can work with. So I want to reach the 10,000 mark very soon. But obviously, we are growing as we speak. Till then, the company was actually very bootstrapped, right? So before this, we did raise a lot of money. We were essentially mostly healthy, EBITDA profitable sort of a company. And
was the revenue only on application? You said on admission also you got a revenue. What was that?
So let's say you applied and then, we will make money on the application and then you ended up taking admission in the college. So we acted like a admissions channel for the admission for the college. So we got paid X amount on application and then Y amount on admission.
And that admission amount would be much bigger because the college is earning quite a bit. I think there is this whole industry of admission consultants, people who go and get students for colleges and drive their enrollments. So essentially you made that into a digital process. Yeah,
and you brought in an amazing point, actually. I think very few people in the country are actually aware that how big that industry is. It's of the last count that I know, there are about 10,000 such people, okay, doing up to 25% of all Indian admissions, right? So 25 to 30% of all Indian admissions mean they're doing 30 lakh admissions a year. 30 lakh, so higher education is roughly a $70 billion fees market. So so these people are essentially contributing to almost 30% of that fees. So almost, so that's the kind of scale. And these are in, again, small towns. Okay? So you will not find such people in Delhi. These are in places like go 100 kilometers from Patna, go 100 kilometers from Guwahati.
Meerut would have someone.
Yeah, Meerut had one. So I remember a couple of my sort of friends, and there was one person who used to help with admissions in Maharashtra college. That time, Maharashtra used to take a lot of outstation candidates. And this was this person who used to help us fill the application. And we were paying him, not knowing that he's getting paid from the college as well. So Meerut had tons of them. And I had seen this firsthand. And unfortunately, people don't realize that how big the impact of this is, right? Because end of the day, a consultant would typically work with even 1 or 2 colleges or 3 colleges.
Yes.
So when he goes to the student, he will essentially only tell him about these 2-3 colleges. And sometimes the knowledge is very compromised. It's all about relationship, going to a Bhagalpur and then trying to do this with students nearby.
It's like selling insurance.
It's like selling insurance, right?
Tie up with one insurance company.
Correct. And whereas what we wanted to do is that we want to actually put the world wide open to the students and say, okay, here is the list of colleges, right? Which you can do research. However, if you want to apply, there's a small segment of colleges which we work with and you can apply with them directly. So on my portal, CollegeDekho, We have information about 20,000 colleges. We have videos of thousands of colleges, right? All of them may or may not be our partner. But if you want to have an ease in journey, here are a bunch of people or bunch of colleges where you can essentially apply through us and make it very easy for you to take admission. So we are essentially, so you are right. So we are trying to target that category. We are trying to target the consultants. We are trying to say that the impact of this can be very big, right? So the impact of the fact that the students are now, especially tier 2, tier 3 kids who are not able to make it to the top 100 colleges, they are now have the choice to select and with the knowledge of whether they want to go to this college or not. So that's one thing that we're very passionate about. So we started with discovery and that went on for some time. Then we did a small acquisition in the study abroad space.
I think typically what colleges pay about 10% of first year fees or something like that for the admission consultant.
Yeah, somewhere in that range, right? Roughly about 25%. So it depends on the course. Every course carries a different this thing, but you can, on an average, it's about 25% of the first year fee.
Okay. And this would help you to fund the content, like video. You were making videos, how did you scale up making videos? Because these are colleges spread across the country and
we just traveled city by city.
Okay. And colleges gave you permissions and all that, like you were able to.
Yeah, because end of the day, the colleges are also on the same side of the problem because they also don't want consultants representing them in a wrong way. They also want to showcase that this is why we've invested 100 crores, 200 crores in creating such a large campus. This is how our placement is, this is how faculty is, etc. So they also want to be out there and talk about themselves. So we didn't get any, in fact, they were more than welcoming when we went to shoot these videos, talk to students, etc. So that was not a problem at all.
And do you have like user generated reviews and rating and stuff like that to help students get a crowdsourced opinion or feedback on the college?
Yeah, we have, and there are sections where the students can do that. But what we've also witnessed is that you'll have to create an ecosystem which is away from bias, right? And education on a scale is a very different. And let me give you an anecdote on that, right? Why we are not very active in doing this. So we did a study where we tried to find out about information about a college in the, let's say, 200, 500 range. And they said their aspiration is to go to IIMs because they are studying in a smaller college, etc. And we did the same thing and spoke to some of the college students in IIM. Right? This was an independent study. And they said, we are not very happy. We want to go to Stanford. Right? But, so education is you realize very soon in life that this is what sort of where you stand. This is what would be best for you. Unfortunately, the societal pressures create a lot of problems, right? It's not the individual. I always, for example, realized, and a lot of my friends went to do bio and stuff, and I realized I can't do bio. It's not in my, and a lot of my friends wanted to do commerce because they realized science is not their cup of tea. They just can't understand differential equation. But I loved that. So you, as a student, you realize this very quickly. There are tools to make you realize this. But however, the societal pressures essentially tend to make a big dent there.
Yeah, okay. And do you also serve vernacular content? Because if you're targeting tier 2, tier 3, then maybe English would not serve their purpose when they're researching, or because it's video, so you don't need to do vernacular.
So there is a lot of written content also. Right now, we are not doing vernacular because, again, it's higher education, right? So higher education, you are probably most of the courses are running in English. So you need to have that kind of issue. So yeah, in primary education, vernacular will make more sense, but in higher education, I think we're still limiting ourselves to English.
Got it. Okay. Do you give a judgment on a college like this rating? This is the college's rating, or do you just present information without judgment? Say like Wikipedia, for example.
We just present information without judgment. But the fact that the college which is right for you might not be right for me. Again, as I said, someone studying in tier 2 college, IIM was an aspiration from IIM. They said, we are stuck at the wrong place. We need to go to Stanford. So for us to do that judgment is very difficult and we don't want to go there. Any sort of judgment, good or bad, will essentially bias the decision. Whereas we will essentially, we just present the information. We just tell the students what questions they have and we try and present it in as fair, as neutral manner as we can. And the student can then take a call, right? At least they know what they're getting into. They can see 4, 5, 6 choices before they can essentially make that decision instead of just one choice which is typically available to them with a consultant.
If you like to hear stories of founders, then we have tons of great stories from entrepreneurs who have built billion-dollar businesses. Just search for the Founder Thesis podcast on any audio streaming app like Spotify, Gaana, Apple Podcasts, and subscribe to the show.
You told me that there were like 2-3 things which were motivating you to start. One was that process of discovery. Second was to fix the pipe and improve employability. So how does this fix the pipe, like fix the college quality of education to improve employability?
Yeah. So first is, you are good at design, so go to a design college, right? Don't go for engineering. That's the first problem. That's the first problem to be solved. The second problem is, now you are in a engineering college, or a design college, which is essentially not at the best of not in Delhi, let's say, or not in Jaipur, it's slightly interior. And there are lots of students who choose that because of various reasons, right? Personal, professional, lots of reasons why they would want to study in a local college and not go outside the city. So we started something called CollegeDekho Learn, which was essentially a very simple in-curriculum subjects, right? So we are not fancy AI, data sciences, or machine learning. We don't do all of that. We are saying, okay, you are studying in BCom first year. Can we help you with financial accounting? Can we help you with audit courses? Can we help you with taxes, courses with taxes, income tax courses? So that you are able to get the best of the faculty from across the world or across the India, despite you being in a smaller town, to learn, right? And again, we are teaching you in curriculum. So because that's where the foundation is being formed. If I'm not good at class 8 decimals or class 5th decimals, it becomes very difficult for me to get. So where your professional foundation is being formed is there. And so we've started that CollegeDekho Learn about 6 months back. Right now, we are doing courses like communication skills, income tax, financial management, engineering design, and lots of these host of courses through both passive and active learning. So there is self-paced videos which students can come and watch free of cost. We post a video on YouTube every day where they can just go and take the lecture. And then there is assisted learning where someone will teach them if they want access to that faculty, doubt resolution sessions, etc., etc. Again, very rudimentary, very basic, very first principle. I'm not trying to take a tier 2 student and then try and teach him machine learning. So unfortunately, whether we like it or not, everyone promotes to us parent that your kid can go to IIT. But that's what people think, that maybe if I'm missing something, maybe he can. Maybe as a parent, it's not possible. It's difficult. Someone has academically behaved in a certain way throughout his or her life. Now in class 10th or 11th, if you put him to rigor, he may or may not, and it only lead to, or we send him to a quota or something, it will only lead to some heartburn. So we are not making that claim. We are saying that before this kid to be ready to do machine learning, let him understand fundamentals of computing or what is taught in his class, because curriculum has been designed in a certain way. Lots of people have put in huge, the people in education, government have put a lot of mind behind what curriculum should be. It might be lagging the industry, which can be the opinion, but at least it makes your foundation strong, and that's where you can grow.
I think there are a lot of companies chasing that coding education space, but there are not too many who would, for example, be looking at helping a BCom student. So that space is pretty wide open.
I think we are the only ones. I haven't come across anyone yet, but I'm sure there must be. But at this scale, we are the only ones, and I must tell you, we are getting amazing response. Okay, without even starting, we are teaching 1,000+ students now within a month or so. So we're getting amazing response because we are, again, first principle, very basic fundamental need of a student. Let me graduate. Okay, first let me pass with the decent marks, and I will go do a AID. So that's second part of the pipe. And part of the pipe is, obviously, we are now also, when we see the student, so it starts with how are we helping students take admission, right? And then we know so much about the student that he's studying in college X in second year, and data structure is a problem. So let me teach him data structure, or give him online classes, or let him come and take it on himself. Second, once I know that this guy knows data structure, then I have partnered with the likes of some of these coding companies, etc., where we are saying, okay, here are students who are essentially now right in their fundamentals and now in final year looking for jobs. So can you either help them with jobs or see if they need more further skilling? That is something that we are not doing. We are just partnering with companies and helping them connect with the student. But that's how I think that's how I see the problem to get fixed. Right? And if we still think that they need a coding intervention or a skilling intervention, or they can find, I would be very happy if we can put the foundation in place and then they can find a job themselves. So if we can teach them tally and they can find an accounting job, or if we can at least help them make discovery that, okay, that you can do an MBA or a MCom or stats, or you can go abroad. But the take is that we want to live with the student around across his journey. We want to be in a place where not only there is realization in the parent's mind that this is a science, not a hunch on where your kid should go or which course your kid should take, and then also help the kid along the path wherever he or she faces a challenge. If they think that my physics professor is amazing, I don't want to talk to him, but please study with your physics professor. However, if you think your chemistry professor is not that great, there is CollegeDekho where you can come and take these free lectures and get your doubts cleared, etc., etc.
This is what Czech does in the US, like
Similar to that, yeah. I think will be very close to a Czech or what Sikh does in Australia. Very similar to that.
okay. And this is like free to use, or I'm guessing that there would be like a freemium model.
Yeah, it's like a freemium model. So if you just want to understand some concepts, you can just log in and then start watching videos. Not a problem. But if you want assisted learning, one-to-one learning, then you have to pay. That's how the model.
That's like a marketplace model. You are like
no, this college content, unfortunately, we couldn't find anyone with college course. So we are creating it. We could find a lot of people with this skilling courses, data sciences courses and other tally courses. But when it came to foundation of how students study, we couldn't find anyone. So we are creating a lot of this content on our own.
So you would be like finding people, training them, making sure comp skills are in place, and then letting them earn through so like they are able to earn an addition. What a tutor would earn generally, they can replace that offline tutoring with this.
Yeah, I typically see offline tutoring is actually cheaper, right? So typically if a student is studying, let's say Delhi University accounting, right? That's a big course that happens at Delhi University, or economics. There are hordes of people who teach and study economics and accounting in Delhi University. So they would typically pay about 1,000 rupees to 1,500 rupees a month, and it's a 2-3 month course. So they end up paying 4,000-5,000. But they teach 20 people in a batch or 15 people in a batch. Right? So online, obviously, they make per hourly, right? So they end up making more money, sometimes the tune of 1,500 to 2,500. Depends on the complexity of the course, but they can teach for a long period of time and then make that money. Also, so online, from a teacher perspective, I think online is just a boon, right? Because now you don't have to be in Delhi. You don't have to rent that expensive place.
To teach.
A lot of our teacher comes from tier 2 cities where there are great colleges and there are teachers who can essentially teach and make a living, which is more than. Also, I think one thing which is very important, right, is and I'm not trivializing the problem, but I'm saying that concept teaching from class nursery to class 8 or 9 is very different from concept teaching for an engineering student. It becomes very complex, right? So you are talking about higher order mathematics, higher order physics, etc. So the number of people who can actually teach also reduces. Yeah. And as you go more complex, it will keep reducing because not everyone can teach some of the specialized subjects. So what we do a lot of effort in getting this and standardizing this. And the more complex it becomes, the better sort of reception it gets from the student, for the lack of better word. So engineering drawing, I know when I was in first year, I had a problem. I had a big problem with engineering drawing. So we had to request our professor, and he was a great guy in engineering drawing. So we had to request, sir, can we come home and you can help us? So this is when we went to the top-notch college, right? Amongst the A category college, amongst the top 20 in the country or 15 in the country. And you had amazing professors, huge facility, 400-acre campus. Imagine the same kids doing engineering drawing in a small campus in Meerut. It becomes difficult. Or let's say go further away. Bareilly, it becomes even more difficult. So that is the problem. That's the problem that I want to solve. The consistency in quality education for higher education. Somehow we happen to stumble upon that problem while everyone is busy on sending kids to IITs. So we are trying to do that.
What is the pricing model for the student here?
Oh, this is the full course will cost you something like 4,000 or 5,000. Yeah, very similar to an offline coach. This is all personal hours, up to 20 hours of 30 hours of learning. And you can actually go back, check videos, do assessments, all of that also. But again, my take is that I want to reach the Bharat. Okay, that's the attempt that we are trying to do. Whether we are successful or not, we'll come to know. But for now, that's what we are trying to do. And even at this, we are able to maintain good profitability. So the fun is when we'll teach 200,000 students at once. That will be the fun. Right now, we're teaching about 1,000.
Okay. And so this you will go like subject by subject, degree by degree, state by state. Because each state would have a different course. Each degree in it would have a different requirement.
Correct. But that's another interesting point. So UGC has a model curriculum for almost everything, right? So everything ends up being a subset of that. And frankly, some of these institutes, like smaller institutes, they try and omit courses then add. So if you teach a model, because see, let's say, again, all respect to these sort of institutes, but let's say if there is a very tough subject, right? So they'll omit some sort of thing that, okay, ye to exam mein important. Can I say in Hindi? But anyway, this is not very important.
You can use it. It's bilingual.
ये तो exam में important नहीं है, इसको हटा देते हैं पढ़ाई. So it's actually not very different. So if you take accounting courses, it's across the country, it's the same. It's just that some concept might be taught in first month of some concept, but it's very, so that's something that we've witnessed, that almost 90% overlap in all courses. Yeah, there's a 10% difference, but we have a model to solve that also. When we do one-on-one doubt resolution sessions, etc., then some of these problems are taken care of. Yeah, but the idea is go degree by degree, subject by subject. So right now we are catering to engineering, and our approach has been, I know it's a bit convoluted, but what we do is we talk to students and say, ये सबसे खराब को लगता है. You don't tell us which you like, which you hate. And we do this sort of survey of 100 students, and wherever there's an overlap, typically there's a 90% agreement. Right? Okay, I hate engineering drawing. So we pick up engineering drawing and then help. So our take is that we want to approach it from a different sort of angle. We're saying that let's solve the problem of the student in terms of where they find the most difficulty. And then obviously you can create a big business on top of it.
And this is like an exam-oriented course. The goal is to help them get a decent score.
Foundation. Exam is I know we are obsessed. We are Indians, right? Obsessed
like
with
traditional offline tuition is totally exam-oriented.
But so we do exam also, but we do a lot of foundation level assessments also. We put some gamification that if you do this, you cross a path. If you do this, you cross a path. But a lot of foundation, because as you grow, and for example, in engineering, we did maths 1, then we did maths 2, then we did maths 3, then we did finite elements. So this all grows on you. Unless you have clarity of class 12th maths, you can. So if you don't know how to do in calculus, you will never learn how to do engineering maths. Essentially focus on that. You understand the foundation, and then obviously everything can be built on top of it.
And you would have a proper LMS with a journey for the student, chapter 2, chapter 3, and assessment after each chapter, like the traditional edtech course.
Correct. Unfortunately, nobody builds an LMS, right? There are so many companies nowadays. So we have an LMS which we've partnered with someone. And we use that LMS with the journey of recorded lectures and all of that. And we are as of today, we are working with a lot of professors to record a lot of lectures. We are also actively looking for acquire a few companies in this domain. Unfortunately, we're not finding many, but the idea is that we will, next few months, there's going to be a lot of focus on this. While our admission business is growing, we did 25,000 admissions, on track to do about 50,000. So that business will keep growing. We are an established player. People know us, colleges know us, students know us, etc. But this is the next part of the pipe that we are trying to solve. And I think once we do this, then it's very similar to Chegg or a Seek in Australia.
And what about discovering what is the right course for you? Do you do that psychometric assessment?
Yes.
Career counseling?
So we have a free psychometric test for students, which they can take, which is a small psychometric test, but it will give them an indicative idea of where they want to be. And plus, we have a set of counselors who also help students in some of these discovery questions. And there's a lot of technology automation that we've done. And because it's a complex, again, it's higher education makes it, people have the habit of making things very complex in higher education. So for example, in Delhi University, every year there's a different cutoff. Every year there's 6 cutoffs, right? And then just an example, if you are a Kashmiri Pandit, then you have an extra credit. If you are a state player of cricket, you have an extra credit. If you're athletics, you have a different way of credit. So what we've done is we've put a lot of these rule engines in our system, where our counselors or students can essentially just go and query the system and get answers. That has been our sort of endeavor for the last 4 or 5 years, as how do we take this very limited knowledge, very personal knowledge, and create a knowledge graph out of it, right? Where some of these questions can keep getting answered themselves. Because one very important characteristics of our space is that parents keep changing, teachers keep changing, students keep changing, questions don't change. Okay, questions are the same. My kid has 90%, should I go to XYZ college? Then this next year, the same parent will ask, a different parent will ask the same question. My kid has 92%, should he go to XYZ? So what we've done in the last 3-4 years, we put in a lot of knowledge graph, a lot of these conversations in our databases where some of this can be automatically answered and catered to.
So, like, it's self-service for the student. There'll be some sort of wizard which would ask them, what did you score and your subjects, and
Self-service also, and they can call our helpline also, and we have people who can help them. A lot of times, again, this is what we've seen in our country, people want to hear a voice, want to have that reassurance, right? So they can just call our counselors and they can help them with the college answer. So we run helplines. In COVID, we ran our helpline helping students with depression cases, etc. In around NEET, IIT exams, 12th exams results, we start these helplines because people feel very depressed. We have our own counseling desk which can help students discover, take a psychometric test, etc., etc. So the idea is that you are talking about a 16, 17-year-old and suddenly a lot of pressure has come on his or her head. So how can we just help them ease through that process?
this helpline and this counseling, is this a paid feature or is this free?
Free, everything.
Because
free.
this would lead to admissions.
Correct.
So it's like
Correct.
top of the funnel expense for you.
Top of the funnel, yeah. This is the for students. Till now I've been successful in keeping everything free. So hopefully we will have keeping it free.
Except for the
Except the Learn. In Learn also, for example, I said there are tons of YouTube videos. If you want to learn fundamentals of computing, taxation, etc., there are lots of videos which you can go and revisit and learn, or self-paced, and they are free. They're out on YouTube. They don't have to come to our website. But yeah, if you want an assisted learning, then there is this need to pay.
Okay. And are you also into recruitment space once they finish their degree?
No, not right now. We have our hands full. We have our hands full, yeah.
Got it. What about the study abroad product? Like you were just starting to talk about that.
Yeah, no, study abroad. So I think if you look at our company, there are three pillars. One is the domestic business, which is the admissions business and where we help colleges and students with discovery. Then there is this Learn, which is getting established, but has already started playing a big role in the company. And the third is the entire study abroad. So study abroad actually was very incidental to us. So we got a lot of students who said, can you give us options going abroad? And till about 2-3 years back, the cost of education in India was rising, especially the private education. And the cost of education abroad was actually coming down, okay? Or at least very stable. And then there were avenues like Germany opened up education, and after Brexit, UK opened up certain things, and things were very positive. In fact, Canada became a very big destination. And a lot of students started asking us, can you help us? India nahi jana, we can pay, can you help us go abroad? So we said, yeah, why not? But we didn't have the skills. So we did a small acquisition in that space. We got the founders to work with us.
Which company did you acquire?
It was called Scholarship Facilitation Services.
Okay. And this was like a digital company? Or
this was like a traditional shop, study abroad shop. Our strength was we understood digital. Their strength was they understood the market well. So we came together. I think today, colleges that are there who are trying to recruit students from India, right? That's what they call. You will find them through direct or indirect channels. So it's not necessarily the moat anymore. That I have so many it's not the moat anymore. You have likes of Apply Board for Canada, Adventures for Australia, through platforms you can use. Or let's say,
what are these platforms? Apply Board, Adventures? They are like aggregators.
They're like aggregators. So Apply Board is an aggregator for Canada, which means that they work with a lot of Canadian colleges. They have integration and they are helping a Canadian college streamline their admission process, because these guys are used to working with lots of agents in Indian, Southeast Asian market. So lots of agents and people like us use it. So they keep a part of that commission. So our take has always been that even in domestic, we could have set up a business where we could have passed on this data and lead like a classified business to the college, and the college would have done this. But we don't sell data, okay? We don't sell data. We don't put advertising. We try and control the journey of the student, because that's how we can control the experience of the student. And that's how we can control this for a longer term, a higher LTV, because then when we know the student has taken admission in a particular college with a particular course, then you can essentially go and help him with that course in future. But if you just pass it on to someone, sort of doesn't make sense. So study abroad also, we started with the same logic that we want to work very closely with the student and control this journey and not work with agents. A lot of people work with agents. So we don't work with any agents. And till 2 years back, it was essentially doing amazing. We were growing very rapidly, but after COVID, that business has taken a little bit of a bump.
What was the peak? Like how many enrollments have?
Roughly about 1,000 enrollments that we did. We are back to that number. Now we are, I think, close to doing about 1,000 applications a month.
Okay.
But again, from application to final admission funnel in study abroad is very steeply, right? So you have applications and then only a few people will qualify IELTS, and then a few people will get, then finally only a few will get visa. So the drop is felt, but we are doing about 1,000 applications and we are still one of the largest in that space.
This is a pretty high touch business, no?
So it's a very high touch business. It's a very long sales cycle, about 6 months. It's from the day that student is interested to the day you get actual cash, it's almost 1.5 years, right? It's high touch business. Given the fact the opportunity is also very large, there is no way. The reason that we keep running is because we find the opportunity to be large, right? India is the second largest exporter of students after China. We all of us know. And it's very chaotic, right? A lot of these, so there are two distinct reasons why students would go abroad. One is very immigration focused. I want to go from settle abroad. So just a lot of people from Telangana, Punjab, you find both people everywhere. So you'll find people for immigration focus, people for studying focus. But let's say these states have slightly higher immigration focus than education focus. So that you have that kind of people, and then you have general sort of students who want to really go abroad and study. So it's still and that leads to a lot of the smaller local agents, right, who are essentially helping these kids. It's very chaotic, right? Because again, they will try and find a route for you to go abroad. The opportunity is to consolidate that chaos end of the day. And that's where we find it's very similar to domestic business. We are trying to put a lot of automation on top of it so that some of these things become more automated and self-paced than high touch. And that's our aim, right? Otherwise, we don't want to open 10 offices in every city and then behave. That's not our DNA. I'm again not saying that's a good or a bad strategy, but it's not in our DNA. Our DNA is automation, tech, solving the problem through minimal intervention.
It's hard to productify this because of the visa thing. No, you need to check each person's documents and you need an expert doing that. And you do visa support in-house or you work with an agent?
No, we outsource it. Again, not something that we are an expert. So we just outsource. We just have a vendor. Whenever we get an admission, we give it to the vendor and they manage so it's outsourced. It's better to be outsourced. It's a very document heavy. Each person has a different way to manage it. So we don't want to go there.
And the student pays the vendor directly for that visa?
Yeah. The student pays the vendor directly. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. We've covered abroad, we've covered learn, we've covered domestic admissions.
Yeah, I think if you look at in domestic learn and admissions, there is, and CollegeDekho, abroad, there is one horizontal product line that we work on, which is our finance business, where we are helping these kids with financing options. So we are not an NBFC, but we are working with a lot of NBFC, aggregating them. And because we have the student, because we know that the student will need loan for going in India, for going abroad, or maybe studying some courses. So there's a horizontal function that we are building, which is around financing, helping the students with financing. So that's, and I think we started last year, we've done about close to about 2,000-3,000, something about 2,500 loans till now, but it's picking up very fast. Because again, because we are able to control this journey of the student, we are able to understand the need, etc. What we are working very hard is with some of these NBFC companies to improve their underwriting framework to underwrite the real Bharat. It's easy to give loan to someone who's earning from a corporate, but when it comes to a shopkeeper, etc., and I think there's great work happening there, right? There are lots of companies who are trying to do that. So we get a lot of students who want to do BCom, BA from a Jaipur, and then these parents have shops, and how do you underwrite the right education loan for them? So that's the work that we are doing. But I think in this sector per se, there's amazing amount of work happening. So we just want to ride that tide.
A lot of lending is the flavor of the season, and a lot of investor money flowing into that space, and each startup targeting a different space. So I'm sure they would be like education focused lending companies who would be trying to unlock the pie. And what is typically the amount of loan that these people take?
So India is 60,000 average. Abroad is very subjective on the country, but India is our average semester fee is 60,000. So you take semester by semester loans. On an average semester is about 60,000.
So they're essentially like a BNPL. They need to pay 60,000 upfront and then they pay it monthly.
Something like a BNPL. Yeah. So we are essentially taking the BNPL concept and took it to education.
Got it. Okay. And how do you earn from this? What if someone is taking a 60,000 loan? What will be your contribution to your bottom line?
Very minimal, but our main purpose is actually that this enables us to do more admission. So while in this direct way, we might not earn a lot, but suddenly the distribution increase. It helps in distribution. So suddenly the distribution helps us earn more.
Yeah, most BNPL costs are borne by the seller because it helps them increase sales. So it's the same thing here.
Correct. So while we make a little bit of money, but not exciting, but the main part is that because of this, we are able to increase the distribution quite a lot.
Got it. Okay. So what's your revenue number? What are you expecting to close this year at?
So last year, the publicly available number is roughly about 50 crores. Right now, we are trending almost 4x of that.
How did you get that 4x increase? And especially 50 crores is already a big base. How did you get such a big boost?
Okay, let me tell you two things. One, in terms of GMV, right, the value of admissions that we will be doing, we did last year, that was 2,000 crores, right? Because we just keep a percentage of that, and our percentage is only our revenue, right? Roughly about 1,500 crores is what the value of admission. And this year, we'll end up doing roughly 3,000 crores worth of sales when it comes to admissions. I think the main thing is always right that we just realized that this is a very large market. We were limiting ourselves by own growth, making it bootstrap, not raising capital, etc. But then we went out in the market and raised capital, and that just helped us put more money. And the fact that our business is also, because we get a lot of this traffic free, lot of word of mouth, so our cost of acquisition was very low. Even today, our business is about 80% gross margin, right? So we make 80% gross profit on every admission that we do. So the more we could invest, the more we could grow, the healthier the P&L become. And in fact, on this run rate, we are EBITDA positive. So all this capital is going through growth. We have also done a couple of acquisitions. We did one acquisition we acquired a digital marketing agency. We also acquired this company, which was very similar to ours, called Get My Uni. And they are also a discovery portal. They also run a website called IELTS Material. They are amongst, I think, the top 5 IELTS exam preparation websites in the world. And IELTS is going to feed into our study abroad. Get My Uni is just consolidation for our domestic business. So between Get My Uni and CollegeDekho, we have almost 50% organic traffic of all college-going students in India. Last year, we did close to 5 million inquiries together. And there are about 10 million students who go to colleges, right? So between Get My Uni and us, we are already at a very decent pace. And all of this keeps our cost of acquisition low. So now Get My Uni will also have common application form, and we'll work together while they will keep serving their clients independently because they're more classifieds and we are more transaction. But this sort of coming together just helps us consolidate the market. Yeah, I think we kept on doing the right thing. Actually, I don't have a magic formula if you're looking for that. Kept on doing the right things, and it shaped up so we were lucky that.
How much did you raise? Like when you decided to stop bootstrapping?
So till now, we have raised about 40 million in 2 rounds. And the last round was about 33 million, which was just about 3 months back. Till then, other than some seed capital, etc., I'm not going to count that. But till about 4 years in the business, when we were run rating at about 50, 60 crores, 100 crores, we didn't raise capital. So we raised that in December, we raised sort of 32 million. And now from there to this, we've been able to double the growth to almost like 4x of what.
Wow. Okay. And so these funds are essentially for, one is acquisition, second is spending on customer acquisition.
Yeah, not so much on customer acquisition. No. So yes, acquisition is a big part of this thing. And I think we are done We are in talks to do one more, and after that, we'll just consolidate and put the pipe together.
In which space? That one more that you're requiring?
In learning space.
Okay.
Yeah, someone who does classes for students in the learning space. And we are also getting them for the platform and all of that. So we'll essentially, one is for that. Customer acquisition is not such a big deal for us because we are essentially generating more inquiries than what we can actually cater to. We are short on but yeah, we want to have more colleges on the platform because that sort of helps us complete the marketplace. So right now the marketplace is only 1/5 of the colleges. We want to have, so that every student that comes to our platform gets an option. So we want to spend on that, and all the money will go
that
towards
would be
growth.
feet on street.
Yeah, so some
college
feet on street,
acquisition.
correct. And then this continuous tussle of making the product better and evolving the product and investing in technology and resources like that. So all of that, but the main thing is that we want to put all of this sort of money towards growth, right? Because fundamentally the business is at a position where we don't need money for sustenance. We just need to keep pumping the growth. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. And you acquired a digital marketing agency. That was essentially like for the talent of it, or what was the?
Yeah, so that was more like an acqui-hire. So for the talent of it, and also they had some. So there are also some clients who want to help. So this was at that time very opportunistic, but it worked out very well for us. Around when the COVID first wave happened, actually, if you look at the 53,000 colleges, only about 15,000 colleges have their website. Okay, it's that bad. So we saw an opportunity where essentially we can cater to a lot of these colleges by creating the digital presence. And that was a rush at that time because suddenly there was no other way for them to communicate. And we found this company where we can get the talent and then create that ecosystem. And we can actually target these long tail colleges and create a digital presence. Again, we are very focused on higher education, not this thing. And obviously the talent was great. They could help us optimize our cost of acquisition even further. So yeah, that's called Unipro Education. And now they're fully integrated. I think the founders are working with us.
So that's like a services business.
That's like a services business. But again, they're very focused on getting the first clients introduced to our system. Yeah, so colleges in our system, and then can we get them to convert into common application form so that we can do transactions, etc. It's a very different sort of client. So typically, we work with the middle tier today, which is from 100, 50, 60 ranking colleges to about 500 to about 1,000 ranking colleges. And then there's a huge universe of 1,000 to 50,000 where there's a big opportunity to create digital presence, to help them with the website, etc. So yeah, services business, but more leading into our core business. That's how we look at it.
It's a better way than feet on street to acquire a college. Absolutely. So I want to discuss some ideas with you based on our conversation. Would you look at an offline presence through franchisees? So you said Punjab, a lot of folks want to study abroad, and Punjab is full of these small consulting companies who have one-room offices where students come in. These could get co-branded as CollegeDekho centers where the franchisee could take a share of the revenue and you handle the back end. Like they become a point of acquisition for you and they share the revenue.
Yeah, no, my team actually came back with a very similar proposal last week. And as long as we can control the student experience and it's just a student acquisition channel and the high touch point, then why not? But the idea is that the experience has to happen digitally. This is just just an experience center in a way. And then franchise is an easy route to go. Yeah, why not? We can look at, the team is evaluating something similar.
Okay. It's something you are bullish on as a way to expand.
Yeah, I think, okay, so as I said, right, out of 10 million students, only about 25,000 took admission from us. So there is still a big headroom on the digital side before we start experimenting with the idea. But yeah, for study abroad, maybe this is an interesting way to go than completely digital, given the fact that it's very high touch, etc. For domestic, I'm not so sure.
Okay.
For study abroad, yes.
Are you looking to acquire like offline tutoring companies? Like I'm sure there might be a tutoring player who's doing tutoring for college students, focus on that space, who could be an acquisition target.
Yes, we are looking at.
Okay. Because like you already know digital and they would know content and how to teach. So it would be like a good marriage.
Correct. That we are looking at. That's an area where we, again, as I said, the more specialized you get, the difficult it is for you to find teachers. But yeah, that's something that we are looking at.
Got it. Okay. And this is just a thought which I have had for a while now. Colleges, when they are reaching out to corporates for getting the students placed, that is a process which is pretty broken. Each college sends a PDF with some 150 pages, and there are photos and profiles of 150 students in that. There could be a product idea here for a college where they can invite recruiters to log on to their recruitment portal of that college, and all students can create the profiles on the recruitment portal and offer management process. Like that whole campus recruitment is a complex workflow which could be productized.
Yeah, you are right. And there are companies who are essentially trying to do that. And I think we will also look at it interestingly once we have reached a certain level of maturity in the learning part. However, there is a, how do I put it? So there is a big demand supply mismatch there right now. Some companies get, so it's, the productization idea is amazing, but unless the pipe is working well, the standalone idea is something that a lot of companies have tried, because you'll hear the same opinion. I interviewed 20 people, they are not employable. So unless you are able to trace and track the progress and the sort of knowledge of a student over a period of 2-3 years, that is when this idea will essentially work well. So yeah, you are right. We have that idea in coming time, but it has to start from where I came from, where I took admission. Yeah.
Would you want to actually run colleges? Like, for example, there's this company called Sunstone, which has an asset light model of offering degrees. Like they take over the management of the college and run the whole curriculum and everything. So is that something you would look at getting into, or?
I don't find it asset light, but but no, I don't think that's asset light. Management of colleges and deploying faculty, etc., is a pretty sort of tedious affair, and you can go college by college. I think we are in a very two, let's say, slightly overlapping spaces, but in a very two distinct places. In case of college, they will have to still find new students and then teach them. We are where we already are doing 25,000 admissions. So it's and we know where they're studying, what kind of courses they are doing. So our approach to this is very different. So our distribution for someone who does this model through offline will take years to reach a 25,000 scale. We are sitting at last year, we did 120,000 applications, right? This year we are trending to about 3,000 applications, 300,000, 3.5 lakh, 3 lakh applications. Till now, we've serviced about 100,000 students. So I know so much about these students that I don't have to go to the college to know or recruit. I can all just have a communication or a dialogue with them, or email or phone call, etc., where we say, okay, are you studying in, I know you are studying in second year law or third year law, and family law is a tough subject. Let me help you. So our approach is very different. They will have to go to a college and then acquire students, put marketing dollars, etc. For us, we have already done all of that. So we are just now.
The other way to look at it is, currently you get 25% of first year fees, which is maybe of the total pie you're getting, if it's a 4-year course, so that like maybe 5%. Compared to that, there is that 95% extra which you get.
Yeah, but then we don't spend. If you look at a college P&L, right, you will seldom come across a college P&L which is profitable. It will be very thinly margined. So if then you have to do full. That's why I said it's not asset light, right? Because you need to have faculty, you need to have content, you need to have distribution channel for content, you will need to have placements, you will need to have building management and tons of other stuff. And then obviously the college will take its own share because they're giving you facilities. So other than that, we are saying, here is a student, we are sending it to you. But if he finds any subject difficult, we are there to teach him. And we are making a 80% gross margin here, another zero CAC. This second sale is zero CAC. And from first year to first semester to sixth semester, hopefully he will take at least one course from us, not all courses. So you have a very longish CAC ratio. It's insane. It goes up to like 18, 20. Is that insane? And that's why the business becomes so profitable. The key is, as our sort of admission business grows, everything else feeds through that and they keep growing. And that's completely asset. We don't need to teach anyone. We don't need to have faculty. We don't have to go to so for that model, we have to go to one college, set it up, then go to next college, set it up, go to third college, set it up. We are here in Gurgaon and we are able to manage like 100,000 students out of here. So definitely more asset light and I find more scalable.
And currently, I guess 80% of your revenue must be through domestic admissions, or maybe more.
90%. 90%.
90%. Okay. Okay. And what do you see what the mix, the revenue mix by say 2025?
Yeah, I think our domestic business will still be the about 40 odd percent contributor. I think our learning business should be almost 40% contribution. Right? So you don't have to go far. In March itself, learning is about 20% of our business. March month, learning is, so that trajectory is amazing, right? So in March itself, we are about 20% of our revenue is coming from learning. And this over a period, and the way it is growing, and obviously the admission business is also growing 100%, but learning is just crazy. And I think by 2025, about 40-40 and give 15 or 20% either on study abroad or on finance and other verticals. So that's how I think this will shape up.
If you like the Founder Thesis podcast, then do check out our other shows on subjects like marketing, technology, career advice, books, and drama. Visit thepodium.in, that is thepodium.in for a complete list of all our shows.